All right, let's dive right in. Today, we are going deep, deep underground into a world where there's literally no light, and the rules of survival are turned completely upside down. We're talking about caves, but not just as, big holes in the ground. We're looking at them as these incredible, isolated laboratories for evolution. So, what secrets are hiding down there? Let's find out.
Yeah, this quote just nails it, doesn't it? They're completely cut off. They're extreme. And they force life to adapt in ways that, to us on the surface, just seem totally alien. This isn't just about survival of the fittest in the classic sense. Down here, it's about survival of the most efficient, the most patient, and honestly, the most bizarre.
So, let's start our journey. Think of this as our entry point. We're leaving the sunlit world behind and heading down into this alien world below. A hidden kingdom that plays by a completely different set of rules.
Okay, so what are we dealing with down there? I mean, what makes a cave a cave? Well, first, there's the obvious one. Absolute, total darkness. Then you have this constant problem of food. There's almost none. But on the plus side, the temperatures are super stable, the water is often full of minerals. But the big thing, the one that changes everything, is the isolation. The two biggest drivers here, for sure, are the darkness and the lack of food. I mean, think about it. No sunlight means no photosynthesis. The entire food web is hanging by a thread, just waiting for whatever scraps of nutrients manage to trickle in from the world above.
So, faced with all these challenges, you'd think life would just give up, right? Nope. It gets creative. It develops a whole new toolkit for survival. And it all kicks off with this really cool evolutionary principle.
And that principle is called convergent evolution. It's a key idea here. Think of it like this. Imagine you give a bunch of different engineers the exact same problem. Okay, your mission is to survive in a dark, empty cave. Even if they all start with different plans and different materials, they're probably going to come up with some very, very similar solutions. And that is exactly what happens with animals in caves all over the planet.
And this is that toolkit in action. I mean, you look at this list and you might wonder, why would you lose your eyes and your skin color? Well, it's all about energy. Eyes and pigment are expensive to maintain, metabolically speaking. In a world where every calorie counts, you ditch anything you don't absolutely need. It's ruthless efficiency. And at the same time, you upgrade what is essential. Your legs and antennae get way longer, so you can feel your way around. And your other senses? Oh, they get supercharged. Touch, smell, the ability to feel vibrations in the water or air. They become superpowers.
Okay, so let's dig into the first big strategy for survival. Becoming an absolute master of energy conservation. And to do that, you have to slow everything down to a pace that is almost impossible for us to imagine.
So meet the Alm. This is probably one of the most famous cave dwellers on Earth. It's this blind salamander from caves in Europe, and it looks so strange, pale, kind of snake-like, that for centuries, people who saw them washed out of caves thought they were baby dragons. And you know what? Their biology is almost as mythical. These things can live for over 100 years. But here is the most mind-blowing fact about the Alm. This number, 10 years, that is how long one of these creatures can go without a single bite of food. 10 years! It does this by basically dropping its metabolism to almost nothing. It's the perfect adaptation for a place where your next meal might literally be a decade away.
And this isn't just some one-off party trick. You go halfway around the world, and you'll find the Alabama cavefish doing the exact same thing. It's this ghostly, translucent fish, and it has one of the lowest metabolic rates of any vertebrate animal. It is another perfect, and I mean perfect, example of convergent evolution. Different animal, different continent, same brilliant solution to the same problem: scarcity.
Okay, so you've mastered the art of saving energy. What's the next big hurdle? Well, you have to find your way around and find food in pitch black. So that brings us to the second major strategy, developing these extraordinary super senses to make up for having no vision at all.
This comparison is just fantastic because it shows you evolution happening right before your eyes. On one side, you've got your standard surface-dwelling tetra fish. On the other, its close relative, the blind cave tetra. And you can see the trade-off so clearly. It loses its eyes. It loses its color. But what does it get in return? Its brain actually rewires itself, dedicating way more processing power to its other senses. It basically turns its whole body into one big sensory organ.
using this thing called a lateral line, these little receptors along its sides, to feel the tiniest pressure changes and vibrations in the water. It can see with its skin.
And it's not just fish doing this. Check out the Texan cave harvest man. This thing is almost all legs, and there's a really good reason for that. It uses these incredibly long limbs like a blind person's cane, but all over its body. It's constantly tapping and feeling the ground, sensing vibrations and even air currents to build this kind of 3D map of its world, all through the sense of touch. And then you have this character, the Hawaiian cave wolf spider. It's completely eyeless and lives inside old lava tubes. Now here's the thing. Most predators in caves are ambush hunters. They just sit still and wait for food to wander by because that saves energy. But not this spider. No way. It's an active, aggressive hunter. It actually pursues its prey in total darkness, relying only on these tiny sensory hairs on its body to track it down. That's an incredibly bold strategy for such a tough environment.
So, okay, these creatures are weird and fascinating. We get it. But what do they actually teach us? What are the bigger lessons here? It's time to zoom out a bit and see what we can learn from the deep.
The really important thing to get here is that these animals are way more than just biological oddities. They are living blueprints for survival. For one, they show us just how fragile an ecosystem can be when it depends on that trickle of resources from the outside. That makes them super sensitive indicators of the health of the surface world. They're also like evolutionary time capsules, preserving ancient species that have long since disappeared from up top. And maybe the most exciting part, they give us clues in our search for life on other planets.
And this is where it gets really cosmic. When scientists think about where to look for life out there, say in the dark subsurface oceans of Jupiter's moon Europa, or maybe in cave networks on Mars, they look to Earth's caves for clues. Why? Because these are the best analogs we have. They prove that life doesn't actually need sunlight. It just needs energy, and that energy could come from chemical reactions deep inside another world. These cave creatures are proof that complex life can evolve to navigate, hunt, and thrive in permanent, absolute darkness.
So we'll leave you with this thought. These creatures from the deep dark show us that life is just unbelievably tough and creative. It can find a way to survive in the most forbidding places you can imagine. And it kind of makes you wonder, right? If this is what can thrive in the hidden corners of our own planet, what else and where else in the universe might it be hiding?